it was getting, I don't know how it gets that way, but yeah, how you been doing?
I just getting more foggy.
Oh, really?
Everything gets more foggy.
Well,
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, I had been having this amazing little, yeah, just teeny tiny little revelations, and one was, I just had this urge. I just wished I could go back and live my life a different way now that I know what I know now. And so I had this vision of it was just it was not a dream. It was I was in the chicken house that we had, you know, and I come out and there's our barn. Just looked beautiful. It had red roof, white and everything, and just those two images. And then this thing says, um, it's never too late to become what you might have been. In other words, whatever it was that you were going to do then, why not do it right now? And it's been very motivating to me, to watch what I eat and work out and try not to waste a lot of time. Yeah, that was the other thing. I had kind of just had this dialogue about it, and says, I don't know, I'm not going back there with you. If you go back, you're going back yourself. She says, we were born at the same time. We share the same life. I'm going to be here. She says, you're my vessel now in the outer world. Later, I will be your vessel in the inner world. After, your relationship with your body ends, here, then she'll stay. And this is why, Marie Louise von Franz said that she noticed that most people who were near death never dreamed about dying at all. And
Yeah, like taking a train or something like that. They got to
yeah,
pack.
well,
they're going on a trip.
yeah, like maybe right the day before they would have a couple dreams, but not as they're approaching it, from afar. But on the day of, they would maybe dream about a wedding dress or something like that. This, where basically this is a real union of this awareness is going to unite with an awareness that has existed, like Jung said once, that the soul has a very intimate friend with whom she confides in always. And that's, the self, and so she's intimate with his knowledge. Hi, Gary. How's it going?
Good. How's it going with you?
Oh, just absolutely. Roy and I were both agreeing we were a little foggy.
Oh yeah, well, I'm familiar with that.
Yeah. I was talking with someone about the what Jung's near-death experience, which was on 4/4/44, April 4th, 1944, and he died on June 6th of 1961. And if you add the days from, I think he was born on July 26th, 1875 to June 6th of 1961, that's like 31,362 days or something like that, and it divides evenly into 6,272 days, 5 times, and then, so there was 6,272 or 17-year periods from his birth till 4/4 of 44. You know, and on that day he was just about to enter the rock where you know all answers would be answered, and then his doctor, whose name was Dr. Theodore Hammerly, who was a great heart specialist, he sees him coming in the form of what he called a Urgestalt, which means original shape, but shape means something that is more than the sum of its parts. The Gestalt does anyway. So, and it means primal form or original form. And he says that you cannot go now, there's too much protest on earth, you know, and all his friends said, we're trying to say, well, who was it that was protesting so much? You know, but anyway, so what happened after that? He had lived 4 periods of 6,272 days. He was granted exactly 1 more period, the 5th period, 6,272 days. So I mean,
Strange.
talk about synchronicity. It's just amazing.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and they actually had it down to the hour too. I mean, he died at 3:45 on June 6th, 1961, and he was born at, I think, 8 o'clock at night on July 26th, 1875. Well, Charles is here. Charles, tell us what's going on.
Yeah, have you got a place already, or?
Might not have good internet, but there you
in a
go.
hotel in New Orleans right now.
Oh, who's paying the bill?
The owner of the company.
Oh, great, fabulous.
Yeah, I get this. I'm making stupid amounts of money at this job.
Oh my God.
It's like you get paid per delivery, get paid, you know, just for going out and working the day, and then get $70 every day, like
Per
diem.
diem,
Yeah, which I mean,
for
I'm not
living
gonna spend-
expenses and stuff.
Yeah, which I'm
Not
not even
gonna
gonna come
spend.
close to spending $70 every day.
Oh, no,
So
that's unbelievable. Well, I mean, I suppose they have a contract price with FedEx, so they've got that all covered, and they're just, you know,
Sharing the
Then they-
wealth.
yeah. Then they make, yeah. Well, they say,
Hmm.
here's what it's going to cost for our people, you know, and everybody's having so much trouble finding people right now. They're going out and contracting
yeah,
the work, you know. So anyway, you just keep saving up your money.
yep.
Right.
Well, I actually I haven't had many dreams recently, or I've had a really difficult time remembering them, and I kind of just wanted to pop in and say hi to everybody. I'm gonna go get something to eat with my coworker.
Okay,
because,
sure. Yeah.
There's
Well,
the work's really intense, and there's literally I don't get to eat every day until about this time.
Yeah.
Because if we don't, I mean, I don't get to use the restroom until, you know, 6 o'clock in the afternoon. You know, I wake up at 5 a.m. and yeah, I'm just like, my bladder's about to explode. I'm starving, I'm sunburnt.
Are you driving your own truck, or what are you doing?
I've only driven a little bit. My trainer has mainly been driving, and I've just been kind of figuring out how everything works. And I don't know, maybe I'll drive tomorrow. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I think so.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you ever watched Trailer Park Boys, but the way of the road, you know, is, you know, normally you go to the bathroom while you're driving the truck. So.
The old pickle jar.
Yeah. Probably
Yeah.
hard to do when there's somebody in the car with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Also,
Oh, I got to
it's-
get some mail in the back.
Yeah.
Also,
Something.
it's
Yeah, I don't
extremely
know.
bad
It's
road.
just, yeah, don't get me started. Well, anyway, if you don't have a dream, he's got to go to dinner, but so we'll just do what we can, you know. And Tim, if you have a dream, I
Maybe
mean,
I'll hop back in a little while.
yeah,
I'll see
sure,
you guys next
yeah,
time.
come right in and tell us just what's going on and everything. And
All right. All right. Bye,
yeah,
guys.
and You know, I just wanted to say one thing too about, Tim, do you have a dream you want to talk about?
I can get one.
Yeah, why don't you do that? But one thing I wanted to mention was that I'm just very this dream that Gary had, you know, one that is sort of a you know, it's been a long drought. And I mean, basically, you know, there is this divine child in him who he's going to take care of. It sort of reminds me of Tim's dream about the about that he's been assigned to take care of the these other things. So he's assigned to take care of this, to be the mother of the divine child, and he keeps losing him. It's a, I mean, the whole idea, Gary, is this is sort of your individuation, and it's running away from you know. And it's hard now. It's trying to connect with the feminine too, the anima, you know. So I was there was one thing while you're looking, Tim, or Roy, if you have a dream too. But I just wanted to read one thing about that reminded me of Tim's dream too. Let's see if I can get in here. I mean, you know, I don't know about you guys, but I just think about these dreams. But anyway, this is from the Handless Maiden, and it just reminded me of your dream, Tim. It is it is a Russian version of the Handless Maiden, and in this story, the woman wanders through the country with her little son upon her arm and comes to a spring and wants to drink, but is afraid the child might fall into the water. Then the water slowly rises. She looks again and gets so thirsty that she leans forward and the child slips from her arm and falls in. In despair, she begins to cry and walk around, and an old man, instead of the angel, it's an old man, so it's wise old man or the green man or something. And he yells, he tells her sharply, "Take the child out." But she says, "I have no hands." The old man repeats, "Take the child out." Then she puts her arms into the water and she suddenly grows living hands. And at that moment, at the moment she was about to lose the child, the last thing she had and the only thing she loved, by saving it from drowning, she found her hands. You know. Anyway, it just sort of reminded me of the dream where you have all these things to do. There's deadlines everywhere. There's people all around, you know, and you go down in the basement and suddenly there's a new priority, you know, that
Right.
we suddenly we have living hands, you know, where before they were not necessarily alive. There was some artificial aspect. But anyway,
Well, I couldn't access the chat, so I emailed it to you.
okay, perfect. All right, let me get it. Because Tim, I mean, I think everybody is interested just because you have a regular series that are evolving. That this is
Yeah.
quite a it's just a very it's a mystery that's forming here. All right, let's see here. When did you have this dream?
2 days ago.
Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, you seem to be regularly having dreams. Did you get some snow in Helena? Or?
Yeah, a little bit, not enough to really stick.
Oh, okay.
But
yeah, I noticed everywhere we went, they suddenly had snow. There we go. Okay. All right. Do you want to just read it?
sure. Sky Woman. I'm working in an isolated house among green hills on the coast, overlooking the ocean. I'm designing something or doing a body sculpture or something that takes intense alone time during which I have a text conversation with somebody in an airplane. Later, I'm with my partner and we watch, this is in a nearby, but in a different place. We watch this small plane come out of the sky and land on a sloping gravel road right before us. The pilot gets out and I ask if there is a problem. She seems unconcerned. This is an older woman, very slight. We talk for a few exchanges and then I lift her off a grassy rise on the side of the road down to the roadbed and we start walking toward our house where we have invited her. She mentioned she had to leave the last place because somebody had a sexual misunderstanding. I see our beautiful house in the distance and I'm charting a path through the green hills toward it, but the woman has gone down the road toward the beach, so we follow her. There I realize we have to cover quite a distance to get to the house because sea cliffs impede the way. And the woman,
Is it all there?
no,
Okay, the woman is now, okay, just a second.
she's now ahead and is wading and swimming in the sea. And I realize I have to alter my clothing appropriately for the sea.
This
Just
is so beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
Absolutely lovely, okay, let's just start on it. Now, we're working in an isolated hill house among green hills on the coast. So we're near the unconscious. This would be on the maybe in Washington or California or like Big
I'm thinking
Sur.
of the East Coast, like Maine or
Oh,
something.
East Coast or Maine. Okay. All right. Well, that's interesting too. Isn't it funny the different feeling of the Atlantic Ocean from the Pacific?
Yeah, and actually, I visited once, maybe 40 years ago, but I have basically no experience of the Eastern
Yeah.
Ocean.
Where the Pacific Ocean, I don't know, just seemed, well, it's called the peaceful ocean, where you get in, especially the North Sea in Norway, if you get it, it's just unbelievably, it's scary how stormy it is. But you're working in an isolated house among green hills on the coast. We're designing something. So we're near the unconscious. We're in the green hills. So there's this aspect of the rootedness. It's sort of in the green hills. That's just a house among green hills on the coast. Isn't that just beautiful? I mean, you can see it in your head, can't you, Tim? Just a really good image. I'm designing something or doing a body sculpture or something that takes intense alone time, during which I have a text conversation with somebody in an airplane. Woo-hoo. This is so symbolic. Okay. So first we're near the unconscious in a house that's all alone there. So it's a real place of introversion. And we're doing something that requires introversion. And yet we are communicating with someone up in the air. So there's it's a connection with someone who is spiritual, someone who is far from the earth. Okay. All right. Now, later, so that's part one. Okay. So now we're going to part two. Part two, I'm with my partner. Now, who is your partner?
Some woman that is in the
Some
house
woman.
with me.
Okay. So she's in the house with you. So you're not there completely alone. Was there anybody else there?
No, in fact,
Okay.
my feeling is she wasn't even in the house. I met her
No.
outside on the.
Okay.
on
Anyway.
both or something.
Yeah, okay, we're with our partner. This is part two. So from what that's really the setting, that sort of the background of what follows. Later, I'm with my partner and we watch this small plane come out of the sky and land on a sloping gravel road right before us. Okay, the pilot gets out and I ask if there is a problem. Okay, now an older woman who's very slight is driving or flying the plane.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So we talk for a few exchanges, and then I lift her off a grassy rise on the side of the road down to the roadbed. So you kind of helped her off the plane. Is that what you
No, she
did?
got off the plane,
Okay.
but all of a sudden she's on this rise, which is on the
she
way to
can't
the
get
house.
down.
Something
it-
like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're helped her down. And then we start walking on toward our house where we have invited her. Okay, so now we're a couple. Do you know who the woman is that you're with?
No idea.
Okay. She's
Just
the
had the sense.
unknown anima.
Yeah.
Unknown anima. And then now this is an amazing development here. Okay. You're with the unknown anima, and then the wise old woman comes out of the air, comes out of the sky and lands. She can fly her own. She flies by herself. So she's very acquainted with the upper realms. She mentions she had to leave the last place because somebody had a sexual misunderstanding. Okay, so the wise old woman only stays around when people don't have sexual misunderstandings. So what would a sexual misunderstanding be? Let me just give an example. I think someone is interested in me and I proposition them and they look at me like I'm nuts. Is that kind of what you're talking about?
Well, yeah, your guess is as good as mine.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just that you think that someone is sexually available to you, but they're not, So that's what I would think a sexual misunderstanding is. But anyway, she is only going to stay where there aren't these sexual misunderstandings. Or, okay, let me say that someone propositioned her, apparently.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. Now she's an older woman, very slight. Okay, I see our beautiful house in the distance. Isn't this just this is so unusual. So in the Dream series, you see your beautiful house in the distance and you chart a path through the green hill toward it. Okay. So, in other words, it's there. It's going to be sometimes outside of our sight, but we're going to get to it.
Yep.
But the woman had gone down the road toward the beach, and so we follow her. She doesn't want to go to the little greenhouse. Then I realized we have to cover quite a distance to get to the house because of sea cliffs. So now it's very difficult to get back to this place where we have to do all this work that requires a lot of alone time. Okay, because now there are obstacles of sea cliffs. So this is so symbolic. The woman is now ahead and is wading and swimming in the sea. And I realize I'll have to alter my clothing appropriately. Just then, two guys come up to offer us some steaming food, weird mushrooms like objects with insect legs. We decline and head towards the water. That's the end of it. Yeah. Oh my God. Wow. That is some dream. This is one. Let's work on it a little bit. I don't know if we can finish it today. This is one that we're going to have to. But Roy, why don't you just take it? Let's first of all see how many parts there are. So first we have the house with the work and the texting. Then we help the woman out of her plane, and we understand that she had to leave the last place in the plane, apparently because of a sexual misunderstanding. Then there is we're starting on the trip to the road, and that kind of has this thing of sea cliffs, and then the woman goes out to sea. And then there's a fifth part where some two men come up and offer us weird mushroom-like objects, and we decline because we're going to go towards the water. Now that I can almost guess what that means. I'm just going to say, I don't know, that we have to experience the conscious, unconscious ourselves. We can't do it through hallucinogenics. I don't know. I'm just guessing. Okay, Roy. I just was saying there's those 5 parts. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, this dream's too hard for me. I mean, now Tim's working on something where he needs to be alone or concentrate, which is a pretty common thing for him in the dream. And then he's just totally distracted. And then it goes from there. Nobody seems to be connected at all. I mean, we don't know who his partner is. We don't know who the older woman is. She's not very good at communicating either. They all seem lost as hell. They refuse the food. So I'm totally lost. I mean, this isn't like the Wizard of Oz. It's no yellow brick road or anything. I'm totally lost. You help us, Craig.
Yeah, well,
Maybe
I think
Gary got something.
I'm starting to get a little more intimate with it. But now, what do you think, Gary? Hi, Dawn.
Yeah, what a great dream. So he's working in the house and he's doing a body sculpture. So, to me, this is like you're working on your persona, you're shaping yourself. And you have contact with the spiritual. And so not only are you working on yourself, but you actually succeed. I mean, the contact is good enough that the spiritual comes down to earth, which would always be, a really good idea. So the pilot gets out and, and there is no issue. And he helps the spiritual get to the ground. He lifts her off the rise and onto the road where they can walk together. So, again, this is like, the work is succeeding, the spiritual's coming closer.
Bringing her down to my level, kind of.
Yeah. I mean, it's like the contact is there, because otherwise, if she had, landed, but but she couldn't, she still was more of the other plane, but lifting her down, that makes the contact. And then there's the part that I'm struggling with that, we're probably going to have to come back to. But she had to leave the last place because of the sexual misunderstanding. And so you're thinking, let's go back to the work on the persona. And she's thinking, let's do the work on the soul. She wants to head for the water. She wants to go down to the beach. So, but getting to the beach, this introduces a obstacle to going back to the house, which is the sea cliffs. So you know, the realms, it's like you have to work in one realm or the other, you know, it's like, you know, and I, you know, and I think this is true in general, you know, that you can't have all these things together at the same time. So people, you know, the two people come up, two guys, but what they are offering isn't, you know, it just isn't the right nourishment. It isn't quite what you need. So, and it could even be like a matter of timing. Maybe at another point it would have been okay. So it's like, no, this isn't the right time for that. You know, we need to head into, you know, the collective unconscious, you know, you head towards the water. So that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, well, that's very helpful. Let's
Yeah,
just go.
that's a great description of the events.
Yeah, let me just try to make some commentary on what Gary said, which just was really awakening a lot about this, the dream. Okay, it starts out that we're in the Green Hills on the coast. So it's this place definitely of far from where there's a lot of people. It's out in nature. It's near the depths, you know, the wild depths. And we are there isolated. Now, it doesn't say anything about a woman there, but we're designing something or we're doing something there which requires isolation or intense introversion. And during this time, we are communicating with a spiritual, some kind of somebody that's flying in an airplane right now. But it's certainly not this woman, I don't think. Do you know who it was, Tim?
The woman in the sky?
No, the one that you're texting.
I think it's got to be the same person, because
Okay.
how could there be two in the sky?
Well, yeah, you don't say with somebody in an airplane. So let's say, yeah, it is the woman. Okay, so all right, now we're having a text conversation. So this is why she lands here. So she apparently knows where you are. You've been having this communication with her, and so now you're with the anima, and you watch the small plane land near you. Now, the pilot gets out and asks if there is a problem. So it doesn't sound like at that point that you thought it was the same person you were texting in the sky. Did you know who you were texting in the sky before? Or?
I don't think so.
Okay.
But
so
the reason I asked if there's a problem is planes don't land on roads.
no, yes, usually they don't. Okay, now she's not concerned. There's no problem. So she did it on purpose. Okay, she knew what she was doing. It's an older woman, very slight. So usually slender people are very close to the unconscious, you know, or they're something about them is you know, lean. They're not that interested in food and those type of things. We talk back and forth, and you lift her down to the roadbed. And we start walking towards our house where we invited her. She mentions when we invite her to our place, I had to leave that last one because of a sexual misunderstanding. Okay. Now, the dream ego sees the house in the distance and is trying to get towards it. But the woman who seems to have landed the plane purposely, you know, and what I'm thinking, Tim, is whoever you were texting initially texted you You didn't text them. Who started the conversation? I'm thinking the person in the plane did.
Yeah. And how would I know where she was going to land unless we'd been
Yeah.
in communication?
So she's that's her initial communication, and then she purposely lands near near you, and she sort of the fact that she says the last place she had to leave was because of a sexual misunderstanding is because she has her own uh, uh, program, and it's not the Dream Egos, okay? And we see that when we try to have her follow us towards the Green Hill, but she doesn't. That's not where she's going. We're to follow her, and we go down to the unconscious, and she starts to wade through the depths. So she seems to be saying, "This is where our work is, not at the house, the isolated, uh, too isolated house in the Green Hills. We need to get down here and wade in the depths." Now, the way to that house in the Green Hills now has been somewhat obstructed. So if we're going to get back there, it's not going to be as easy because we've come down to the sea, you know. So after we come down to the sea, the way back to the more conscious realm is more closed off to us, and because this is our life now. Now the woman is now ahead and wading and swimming in the sea, and the Dream Ego realizes it has to adapt to her. It has to alter, say take your shoes off, roll your pant legs up, whatever. Okay, so now you're going to join her. Okay, so this is an invitation, and we're accepting it. Now this is really interesting, and there's no one borrowing us from this. I mean, I don't remember such a positive dream ever. And then, but at that point, again, a distraction comes in. Okay, two male aspects come down, a pair of male aspects, which probably are representing something like the shadow, and they are trying to entice us with this strange food. Don't go down into the depths with the wise old woman and the anima. We've got this. Don't do it. Don't do it. And yet the Dream Ego says no. See, actually, don't you think, Tim, that it's not just you and the wise old woman? Isn't the anima going to join you, the partner?
Yeah, she's beside me the whole way.
Yeah. So so just to really sum up the progression here, we're doing something isolated, all by ourselves, and suddenly we get a notification. It's like an annunciation, like Michael telling Mary that she's going to be the mother of God. We're getting this announcement, and then the announcement is followed by the wise old woman coming down out of the sky, just falling out of the sky and landing right before us. And then we invite her to her house, and she says, now it isn't the sexual misunderstanding. I think the idea is that we are misunderstanding her nature. It is totally to be involved in the depths. We're not going. She is not going to follow us to the conscious realms. And our house is beautiful in the distance. We want to go back, but then we have to follow her to the sea. Then it's very hard to get back now. and we are going to join her. The shadow tries to dissuade us, but we decline and head towards the water. Now, Tim, have you, in all of these dreams, have you had one, remember one, that was this, every invitation accepted, every invitation, the only obstacle I see is that once we go down to the sea, the way back to the conscious world is going to be harder. So this is our home now, or this is the place where we learn here. We can't learn back there, you know.
And these food objects are really interesting because they're standing on the beach. They approach us, these two guys, and they have this platter with these two what looks like upside down mushrooms, and they're steaming. They just look like, oh, it's fresh from the oven or something. And yet they have these insect legs sticking out of them, and so it's a weird combination of something really attractive and something that you realize is the wrong answer.
Yeah, it's both attractive and repulsive at the same time. I mean, there's an idea that there is something morbid about it. You know, it looks appealing, but it also seems like it's something that is going to make us sick. You know. Now, Roy, do you have any thoughts about it now after some of this?
Well, there doesn't seem to be any feeling. There's no sparks coming off the steel. I mean, the only thing is a beautiful house. You know, it's kind of a sentiment. You know, that's it. I mean, nobody else seems to have any feeling or emotion. It's sort of weird.
Well,
it's just wrung out. I mean, it's dried out.
Well, the thing I like is just this single-minded focus. First, like you say, there's not a lot of emotion, but there's some announcement to us. This wise old woman announces something that she is above us, lands, and then her single-minded purpose to get us to follow her down into the depths. You know.
Yeah, but
and
she's like complaining about had to leave her place because some sort of sexual misunderstanding, and then she's going through all this to land a damn plane in the middle of nowhere and trying to lead the blind. That seems like that. I would be a lot more upset about that than a sexual misunderstanding. I mean,
well, I wonder if
she's like just so like, okay, I'm going to anoint this thing and we're going to take them down to the water and, you know, no big deal. She's so calm about. I mean, Buddha's not this calm. I'm just lost. It's just a mystery. Yeah. Something's missing.
Yeah. What do you think, Tim? I mean, as you've had time.
Well, one thing that I'm thinking about is maybe this is the business of the sexual misunderstanding is a warning. You know, this is what happened to me last time, and I don't want it to happen again. So it's a warning to not misconstrue this body sculpture as a sexual adventure. Yeah. You know, the work that I'm doing at the house seems to be some kind of body-centered artistic thing. Exactly. And
she's saying that's not the place for her. Apparently.
It's a warning for Tim. He's saying it's for Tim. Right. Now we're getting somewhere. Now now you're getting somewhere. I can see that. I like that.
And it seems to me that the food is just a sort of attractive distraction that is a little bit transparent.
Yeah,
and maybe without the legs sticking out, this would have been just great, and I would have grabbed it and eaten it. But
you decline it, and the one thing that I think is regardless of the fact that there's no feeling in anything, is the fact that we join the anima and the wise old woman and the dream ego are now somewhat moving in synchronization here. and that where are they're moving is what is she doing there? She is experiencing the depths. You know, the sensation of this undivided substance of water. You can't really divide water. You know, I mean, it's just it's always of one piece. You know, unless you put it in different containers or something. You know, as long as it's in a vessel, it's going to be of one piece. You know, that's different than water on the floor or something like that. But water that's in a vessel is of one piece. What now, Gary? You got us started on this. What are you? Are you getting any more thoughts about it?
Well,
certain.
You know, the
Thank you,
thing
Roy.
that I really like about this dream is that, you know, this would make just this unbelievable series of panels of paintings that would be like a progression, you know, because you know, and remember, it begins with this intensity of focus and work. And it takes intense alone time. So this is work of the soul.
Mhm.
And in the work of the soul, you know, the contact with the above is made with the spirit. So now, you know, this communication begins. And then, you know, the spirit comes down to the earth, meaning that we can now discriminate. You know, it's become more conscious. You know, we can actually talk with it, with the anima. So the lifting off the knoll, you know, it's like, okay, we have brought her to a level that we can talk. I really like that. You know, it's, you know, so I know Roy is talking about how there's no feeling to this, but the feeling is in the symbols. The feeling is in the actions. So I'm just going to have to disagree there. And I'm still puzzling over the, you know, had to leave the last place. But here's the thing, you know, it's like, I'm going to take a stab. You know, I know, you know, that Tim had talked about being celibate at one point. And I'm thinking, like, you know, what if that leaving the last place because someone had a sexual misunderstanding? What if the celibacy is the sexual misunderstanding? You know,
Oh.
and you know, and that's, and it's almost, in that case, it's almost like a message, you know, that no, you actually have to go down into the body. So then, you know, because of the communication that we now have, it's, you know, Tim isn't directing anymore. You know, he's not going to take, you know, he's, you know, in the ego realm, he would go back to the house and continue to do this work. But the, you know, the anima is like, no, we need to go, you know, we need to go to the water, to, you know, to the deep, to the underworld. So, and once you're there and you look up, you realize that, you know, you're now in a very different place. And, you know, and the cliffs are sort of the symbol for the blockage of going back to where you were, which is probably a good thing.
A wall formed or something.
Yeah. And that's, you know, and that's probably, and so, and then I'm going to take another stab too, that now that you're working with the anima at this level, you have, you know, you have help and offerings from other helpers. So the food may not be recognizable, but it's still nourishing and it's fresh and it's there to take if you want. So I'm thinking, no, this still isn't, it's not a bad thing. This is, these are things which are coming up because of the work that's being done. You have additional possibilities, and the possibility is for nourishment in different forms than what you're used to.
Yeah, that's so good, Gary. I mean, both Roy, what you said about the lesson for Tim and the what you just said, Gary, is this aspect of once we have made a decision to alter our persona, alter our clothing appropriately, to alter our ego attitude, and join the wise old woman wading and swimming in the sea. At that point, two men come up with unusual food for us, very unusual food. In other words, at that point, as soon as we've made the decision to change our ego attitude, suddenly a nourishment comes. That's not that this is not one of ego consciousness. It's something much different than ego consciousness, something that we're unused to. I just wait.
And it
Go ahead.
occurs to me that in order to prepare for going into the sea, something has to be taken off.
Yes.
Shoes or pants or something to, it's shedding part of the persona.
Good
And so
point.
it
Have to
could
be
be that,
appropriate.
it could be
Yeah, go
that,
ahead.
that once those persona parts are shed, then the food would be more attractive or
Yeah.
would be more digestible or something.
It preceded the offering anyway. Once you'd made the decision to alter your attitude appropriately. What were you going to say, Gary?
Oh, no, I just thought that was a really good observation.
Yeah, I just wanted to say one thing about the sexual misunderstanding, and I do agree with the only time we see a feeling is in the green color, the green hills. I mean, that's a color of sensation, by the way. But in my experience with the depths, which is pretty limited, but it's always a shadowy image. It is something you see. I mean, I had a couple different ones this month or this last week that were colorful, but anyway, normally what I see is the anima's face in some type of profile, and her nose keeps changing and her eyes keep changing, and she's just showing her or that she's all women who've ever lived, And one time I asked to see her body. Okay, could you show me? All I'd seen is her face. Could you show me her body? Everything shut off. There was nothing there. It was over with. There's no more active imagination that day. And so now the next day or the day following or something, I just was a little more cautious, and so I go in there and I see, it's just about to come to an end. I have to get ready for work, so I'm just saying goodbye. And suddenly she shows me her body. And it's dressed in like a 19th century dress, sort of a very thin waist and sort of a petticoat with long sleeves. Now she shows me her body. But when what I thought of was that for me to ask to see her body is a sexual misunderstanding, on my part. think that she is communicating with me in her guise as the feminine, and when I ask about her body, she's saying you have a sexual misunderstanding towards me. That's not what I'm about here, you know. But then, as sort of a compassionate being, she decides to show me her body in a very, it's a very conservative view. But anyway, this just is a dream like I've never seen, Tim, that you had. Do you remember one like this?
Yeah, it's
That was
fascinating.
quite
It
like
reminds me
this?
of a like a Andrew Wyeth painting.
Yes, exactly. It is. I mean, it's just got these wonderful scenes. Each image is so beautiful. The sea cliffs, the sea. Now, the one I can remember was the one with the family and of musicians and the ones that had the all the writings on the outside of their bricks, these little sayings. That was one was pretty. That was probably as close to a fairy tale like dream as that was a beautiful dream. But anyway, so we decline and head to the water, and her name is Sky Woman, and she comes out of the sky. She seems to be deterring us from spending all this time alone on our art, and she says that we need to come down to her. Now, here's another vision I had this morning. It was I've had a lot of these. I'm sure you guys have had them too. But where I am coming up on the road, and there is a pickup truck with a pulling like lawnmowers behind it. I have to go to the left. And what I was kind of saying, what is this all about? And she says, the way forward on the path you're going is filled with mechanical device obstructions. A lot of obstructions that have to do with the mechanized world. She said, you need to go this way. And she was saying to me too, Gary, what was that dream about where you were supposed to go to the playground? Instead of, what she said is, you need to work on your dreams. You need to come see me. You need to draw your dreams. You need to spend time with me. Okay. So I think that's what she was telling me. I think that's what she's telling you too, Tim. Your work is not art. Your work is to come down and walk through the sea and just feel it with your hands, with me, the wise old woman. And by the way, the anima will accompany you on this. And it's not about eros. It's not about sex. It's not about that you're a man and I'm a woman. It's about transformation. We don't take it literally that I'm a man, you're the anima, you're the contrasexual. So there's this immediate aspect of the tension of sexuality. No, that's not what it's about. It's about you come down here and you spend time on your dream images. You develop this life, and it really is. It doesn't lead anywhere. There's no revelations. All it does is to change the next image. So in other words, you work through that image. You sort of integrate it. The next image comes and it's a little bit different, and then you integrate that. And so you change it, the dream changes. So it is leading somewhere. But that's soul work,
Yeah.
That is the work of soul.
Yeah, that's really well stated.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it just reminds me of that. I mean, because that was the two big images I had, just this last week were one, where, um, the I was telling Roy about this. I saw this chicken house, that was in our, I just said, wouldn't it be great to go back and to heal myself with all, start life over and do it right now that I know what I know now. And suddenly I have the vision of my child house, very, very vivid, the chicken house, the place where the instincts are. And then the barn, it's just beautiful white and red on the green, sunny day, green grass, sunny day. And that was all it was. And then there was a voice that intimated this, that it's never too late to become what might have been. So in other words, whatever you wanted to go back and do when you were a little child, do it right now. It's never too late to become what might have been, and that was a great relief to me. I mean, it was just absolute relief. And the whole idea is to do what I would do to heal my childhood self. Let me do that today. Let me live like that today. And then the other thing she's saying is go to the left, go to the left, go to the left. Everything in front of you is obscured and obstacles, and it's all full of machines, and that's not your way. You're not going to get anywhere there. That unit is stopped at a red light, and that red light's not going to change. Go to the left, So, I mean, this is kind of what they're saying in your dream, Tim, I think.
Yeah.
A little bit,
Well, incidentally, Dawn sent me a little shred of a dream that she had. I wonder if.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah. Yeah. If you could send it to me, I mean, maybe she sent it to all of us. Let me see. I don't know. I have been sitting here. I don't see it. Why don't you put it in the chat, Tim, or send it to me? Can't get it in the chat. Just forward it. Yeah, I love Dawn when you send your dreams. I mean, they're very healing to me. I mean, Tim's dreams are healing. In fact, everybody. I don't know. I mean, I sit there and think about Gary's dream for 2 days. It just keeps going through my head. Okay, did you find it yet? Oh, no, I just sent it to Tim. Okay. All right. Could you send it to me, Dawn? Or Tim, you send it to me?
Yeah, I thought it was an interesting coincidence too. And it's also very beautiful. It's really short, but
yeah.
Do you mind? I can copy it from my text.
Yeah, just go right ahead. Yeah, there you go. Okay. All right. All right. It is an interesting coincidence. Okay. Go ahead, Tim, and just why don't you read it?
So she says, I had a dream this week that I was on a plane, ended up piloting it, and went too fast and too hard and accidentally ran into the moon.
Whoa.
That's
wow.
beautiful.
Okay. Yeah, it is. Okay. Can you just read that one more time? Just because I almost got it memorized.
I was on a plane, ended up piloting it, and went too fast and too hard and accidentally ran into the moon.
Okay. All right. Now, this has happened before in your dreams. I mean, where you are having difficulty navigating in either your rocket ship or keep running into columns. Now, see, instead of running into a column, do you remember who was it? Was it the old witch that ran into a column, or somebody ran into a column? but now that happened in a previous dream where they just ran into a column. So the idea here is that we need to leave the earth, but once we get into the sky, it is very that our ability to control the vehicle in the upper realms is too limited now. And yet in this case, you fly too fast and too hard. So that's very too masculine, you know. And what happens? You run into the moon, you know, to Luna. She's a woman, you know, Sol and Luna, king and queen. You're flying too fast and too hard, sort of a masculine type of way. Now, what that also means to me is that the animus needs to, the woman needs to have a very strong feminine point of view. And the animus is to help her to provide is to gently guide her and to provide her meaning. But she is to stay a woman, you know, and he is to be her guide and her meaning, but she needs to maintain her position and not let him lead her around. Because if he starts being the master and leading us around, he's going to be the negative animus. So when we're flying too fast and too hard, we fly into the feminine again. You know, I mean, that's too uncontrolled of an animus approach. You know, it's just I'm just guessing right off the top of my head. What do you think, Roy?
I don't know. It sounds like it sounds like Pilot Don Marie. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's Pilot Don Marie, and it's kind of like articulation again. It's kind of like her father asking her questions, simple things like, you know, what are you drinking? Why are you wearing the headphones? Not real complicated things, but you got to slow down and think. Maybe you weren't thinking, you're just doing things you're not thinking, or you're thinking too fast. And you got to slow down and hear the question and then find the answer. You can't do that if you're going too fast. I don't know. I'm somewhere in that area again.
Yeah, it is an important dream, I know, and it is related to the general direction of Dawn's dreams too. What do you think, Gary? Do you have any thoughts about that? That's it is an image that is pretty. When you're done, let's see if she remembers anything else from it.
Well, and I agree, any additional details would be good. But I think, you know, for the sort of work that we do, you know, it's never anything that can be forced, and it's not really controllable, you know. And so if you try too hard and if you're going too fast, then you're going to collide with the lunar aspect, you know, and and to me it's saying, well, it's going to be unconscious. And why is it going to be unconscious? It's going to be unconscious because you're not doing it with feeling. If you were doing it with feeling, you wouldn't be trying too hard and you wouldn't be going too fast. So that's what I'm picking up.
Yeah, it is. I was just going to show you this thing. Jung in is somebody in the Red Book. I can't remember.
That's
who it
why
was.
E.T. had her on a bicycle last week.
Yes. Yes, exactly. I mean, that was, we should read that dream right now and just see if it gives us any clues. But what Young in the Red Book, it says, do you not know that the way to truth stands only open only to those without intentions? That was what Gary was just saying. Do you still not know that the way to truth stands open only to those without intentions? Let's just read that E.T. dream real quick, see if I can find it here. There's a guy shaving soap. It takes a lot of time and effort, and he's starting to sweat. But this is how he takes pictures. Then we see some pictures that go with the movie E.T., a boy on his bike in front of the moon. Okay. And words go by with the image, and they are flying between two bridges. You know, and this came up where Young said there's no such thing as a one-way bridge. I mean, it isn't just that dreams come to us. What we think about the dreams goes back to the unconscious. So there's an energy flow, you know, and what goes back to the unconscious then has, it's a call and response. So two bridges are call and response. You know, I mean, in other words, the two sides, there's no such thing as a one-way bridge. And after waking, we thought that it really should be traveling a bridge between two places. Well, yes, but the point is that there's two bridges from us to the unconscious. One comes from the unconscious to us, and one goes from us to the unconscious. Okay, that's image number one. Next image was related to the bike in front of the moon image again. And this is related to we never really did this very well. It's related to the bike in front of the moon image. And this is related to the bike in front of the moon image. One sock being folded into another. Now, how is that related to the bike and the moon image? The boy on the bike and the moon image. Anybody have any ideas? How would one sock being folded into another be related to there is a boy on a bike with the moon behind him? So this is the animus and the moon. Now, what would it happen if we got on the boy's bike and started going out of control too hard and too fast? You know, I mean, and we run into the moon. In other words, here's what really I think happened is that going too hard and too fast. You know, I got a Z-Track mower one time. I'd never run one before. And the first thing I did, I just ran flat into a tree because I didn't know that you're supposed to pull back how you brake it very well, you know. But the idea is in the animus vehicle, the one that we're piloting. Dawn, did you have a pilot's license? You're piloting the plane? How did you get a license? You don't have a pilot's license, you know? So anyway, it's the empty space between. Yeah, you don't. So, I mean, you're piloting this aspect of the animus. And right now now remember the fact that we couldn't get out of the pit in the rocket ship. You know, we saw these rocket ships very successfully flying out of the bottom of a crater up out of the crater and then landed over here. But our rocket could only go sideways. Okay. Now, in this case, when we pilot the plane of the animus, it's sort of like Icarus, you know, where his father gives him these wings and tells him not to fly too close to the sun, but he's gonna, you know, and he ends up falling into the sea, not into the into the flying into the moon, you know. But let's just finish a little bit of this dream. So then then the father comes and has two questions. One is what we're drinking, but we can't answer him. Okay. We finally sort of just blurt out strawberry tea, lemonade juice. Okay. Then he asks us another question. Why do we, and Dawn said, why do we wear headphones all the time? Again, we can't answer. And we struggle to think of an answer, but then we wake up and we wonder what we did all the day before, you know, and we've been cleaning, but it wasn't an easy answer to come out of me. So anyway, there's this, after all that, Roy, do you have any thoughts about where did she get the pilot's license? Where did she get the plane? Why is it flying too hard, too fast? And why would it go right straight into the moon?
I don't know. It's a great mystery. You know, there's a lot of people in life, and they don't even seem to care about the mysteries of life and what it all means and who they are and where they're going and how do they get there. Now Dawn's struggling with that. I can see that, but it's very difficult for her. It seems like at least she hasn't talked about it much about, is she making progress? You know, what are the results of her exploring the mysteries in life? Is she getting anywhere? Is there any progress? I know it seems like the unconscious seems to always bring up a lot of conflict in our life. Mystery and conflict to sort of get us to wonder. And, you know, why all this conflict? Maybe it's to get us to think. And by thinking, we enter the realm of self-realization, which I think is really what it's all about. But I can see Dawn's interested in this. I just wonder, are you making some progress, Dawn? You know, give us a signal.
The ET dreams seem to be different than you were. If you don't want to respond, Tim or Dawn, that's okay. But let's see. Okay, I've been a passenger in. I've been a passenger in an older dream, but it wasn't staying on the moon. Just taking things there for other people and plummet down first. Is that another part of the dream, Dawn? Yeah, so maybe that does show progress, she says. Yeah, I've been, you know, I have been having a good feeling, Dawn, really, about it. I just, you know, that last dream was very positive, and I don't know. I mean, I just see. What do you think, Tim?
Well, I think in terms of this one, it feels to me like this is the negative animus, but maybe it feels really positive because getting integrated with the animus gives you this capacity to launch off. And maybe the only difficulty is either that the animus has given you a vehicle that's just too powerful and too sexy, kind of like maybe the bicycle is a better tool, bringing back the animus to a sort of more personal level rather than this, you know, spectacular machine. So it just feels to me like you're on the right track, but it needs to be dialed back just enough so that it's not, so you're not being overwhelmed by the experience of being given this new access, this new tool.
It seems like we do have access to the new tool. What do you think, Gary?
Well, I don't know. I just can't see this one as positive because it's not about control, and it's not about going fast. And it shows, and when you try to take control and direct, then you crash. And the crash itself is not a good thing. Because crashes can injure you, crashes can set you back. So it's, like if you were to ask me, how do you know if you're making progress? I think it's actually really easy. It's actually really just, it's very practical. It's what is the, affect in just your everyday life, How is it that you're seeing the world differently and things, and things are coming through with, kind of a different sense. So it's not necessarily that we're having, these mystical experiences. And it's not, the visions that we're getting or meeting up with the anima. Those are all just kind of the, the frosting on the cake. But it's more, the impact it has on the moment to moment is what I would say.
What does it mean that she crashes into the moon? Or she could crash into anything. What do you think, Gary?
Well, the moon is the symbol of the problem, and it's the feminine aspect. It's the, it's the unconscious.
There's a slight the ability to synchronize the masculine, the logos vehicle. Let's call it the logos vehicle, and the goddess of woman, the moon, is not. It needs to do a dance around her, not to just go too hard and too fast and then just crash into her. It almost, it almost seems like semen going into an egg a little bit. I'm just saying it's this masculine vehicle and it just crashes into the goddess of woman, the goddess of woman. But anyway, it is something you just said a second ago, Gary, just got me thinking that before I had this active imagination this morning, I throw an I Ching and I get a mountain above a mountain. Okay, and what that means is the mountain of the ego obscures the mountain of nature. And then it said there that you cannot do this work with ego, for self, for self power.
Right, and that's the dream to a T. That you couldn't have said it better. Just there, you can't do this work with the ego, and when the ego takes control, the ego just crashes
all the time. I'm Tim. That has happened in your cars too. It happens to me. Who is the driver here? Not ego. Ego, especially. What was that one where somebody gets in the chariot of Helios, the sun god, you know. I mean, it's somebody who gets in the chariot of the sun god, and it's just absolute chaos, you know, when they get into that. So you don't drive the chariot of the sun god, and you don't drive the chariot of the, but the whole idea is at least we have access to it, and we have access to the goddess of woman, you know. I mean, at least they're there, you know. And I really do think that the dream of the of ET, everything was going very well. I mean, until then the father element comes in, and he we can't. Okay, here's what happens. Somehow, when the father speaks, let's say anybody else spoke, it wasn't the father, it was anybody else, we'd answer every question like this, you know. There'd be no difficulty answering. But somehow when the father, the masculine element that's associated with some kind of a divine quality, or some type of fatherly, paternal something or other, then we're like I am when I'm in the presence of the goddess of woman. I'm stupefied. I can't speak, and anything I say would be completely stupid. You know, I'm just absolutely my consciousness has been obliterated. You know, Roy, do you have any further thoughts about this after all this?
Oh, no.
Okay, all right. Okay, well, how about you, Tim?
Nope, I think we've covered it.
Okay, great.
You know, Don just put up something really
All right.
interesting.
I'm trying to get people to help us.
Yeah, while on break, I'd stay lying in bed after dreaming, going in and out of the between state, which would let me grasp the dreams and bring them to consciousness. I don't get to do that too often now, you know, and it's like, you know, that's very much, you know, kind of a liminal dreaming type of state. And I think, you know, that is such a, you know, wonderful practice, because what I've found is that when you're doing that, it's like, you know, sometimes it likes, you know, it generates its own set of images, you know, just doing that. So yeah, you definitely need to get people to help you more at home, you know.
Well, let's read. I want to read this again, and then I want to read what Roy said, because Roy said something very important. Dawn says, while on break, I'd stay lying in bed after dreaming, going in and out of the between state. Delicious, isn't that delicious? Which would let me grasp the dreams and bring them to consciousness. I don't get to do that often now. Isn't that beautiful? I mean, you know what happens to me? I get up and I'm doing something, and suddenly something reminds me of that dream that I had maybe an hour and a half ago. And then I have to write down whatever I can remember. But then let's hear what Roy said. Well, first of all, Roy says, it's very important taking care of your family, but what about Dawn? Okay, and then he says, you need more time for yourself. Ask your soul to help you with this. We know this is so important, and nobody can do this for you. You have to do it yourself. And then Roy says, good to state your needs, then go from that. You are the captain of the ship. Make sure it goes where you want to go. Yeah, I mean, the whole idea is to sacrifice too much. We do need to, there was this Hasidic tale. This one always has meant so much to me. Is there's this man that is in this Hasidic tale, who's incredibly busy all day from dawn until dusk. He has not one moment to rest, you know, and he's rushing from place to place. He's this businessman. But then every once in a while, he will run through an alleyway and he stops in that alleyway when he suddenly is alone and he says a prayer. And the rabbi says, and that prayer, you know, rends the firmament, the curtain in the temple, you know, cuts it in half, because it's one that God values more than any other. And that is the busy man's prayer. You know, if you can just, God understands this. You know, I mean, that's what I find when I don't have a lot of time. I always notice that the unconscious helps me out when I don't have a lot of time. Like, you know, I'm about ready to leave. I don't have any leave, and nothing's happened up until that point, and then suddenly, boom, 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 3 things come. You know, right then. You know, so that busy man's prayer is very important. You know, but anyway, it's just I'm just glad that you every time you come, Dawn, it helps me. I really do like it when you're here. But I like if you can keep sending us some dreams. I think it helps all of us, you know, all to get living hands. You know, Roy, did you have a dream that you want to start on next time, or?
I have to mail it to you and stuff, and by then
Okay.
we're out of time.
Yeah, we're out of time. Okay, well,
But I did have a question about my last dream.
Sure, yeah, go right ahead.
Well, it doesn't seem like the unconscious cares or people care much in general, but I always had a problem with this. All the people that are good people, big hearts, but they just get crushed,
Mhm.
and they're just not on the right path, or they get into addiction. It's always bothered me, and I never could figure out what to do. It's just I have a whole life of this, seeing this.
Of the people who get into addiction.
Well, people that have good hearts and they work really hard, even Dawn, for her family and stuff, providing for her family,
Mhm.
but that they don't have clarity from the unconscious or whatever it comes from to save themselves.
Yes. Yeah.
People
Yeah.
don't seem to care. The unconscious doesn't seem to care. It's just casualties everywhere you look. As
Mhm.
many today as it was yesterday. It's going on all the time. Always bothered me.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's hard to ask me because I'm very naive, and I live in a little, almost a little shell, you know. But I mean, all I've found is that now I think Dawn is doing a little. She coming here and listening to us blather for 90 minutes is, you know, that's what we're trying to do, is do this solar. But now let me ask you, are you more worried about the people, let's say, who are unconscious and have a lot to do?
Oh,
and
my
then end up
nephew, my dream was about it. That's what the dream was really about.
James.
It's happened almost 2 years ago. I'm passed out asleep, and he comes in my dream and brings this up again. Stirs
And
me
you
up.
told people he was sick, but no one believed me. And so the unconscious didn't seem to care. He was sort of a lost child, and no one cared. You know, he was, and you were the only one that knew it.
What, Amy? What, her
Yes,
sister or
her
niece? Her sister, and then you had a niece, or you had somebody in your family. Well, everybody has it. You know, it's always weighed on me.
Yeah, it is. You know, somebody's, I don't know, you know, Heidi she contacts us. 3 or 4 times. You know, she died in,
Yeah, but she
77.
couldn't contact you when she was alive.
no.
I mean, that's what gets me. That's what get me. James even tried to contact me when he was alive. You know, and I couldn't reach him. You know, it's like
Yeah.
you want to. There's some kind of gap you can't get across.
They won't listen. I'm not, isn't that. they
Well, I don't
won't
know
listen.
if they won't listen. I mean, that's what we say. They don't
They
tell
can't.
us that. They don't say, I'm not listening to you. They don't tell you directly that. No, I don't listen to you. I don't want to listen to you. They don't tell you that. That's an assumption we make.
Well, I think the thing is though.
They don't hear us. That's an
Yeah.
assumption we make.
They can't.
That's an
ask.
assumption we make.
Yeah.
We don't know because we can't even
No.
have a conversation about it with them.
Yeah. I think the thing is that her brother, Michael, understood everything, but he couldn't act. He couldn't do anything. He was helpless.
Well, that bothers me, you know,
Yeah.
and I don't know how much it bothers other people, but it's always bothered.
Well, let's discuss that
Sure,
Monday next time.
Right.
And let's
that's
let's
something to think about.
let's redo this dream one more time, and in that context, because it's
And
I-
in a way, I put Dawn in that category because she did have a breakdown.
yeah.
Remember, and
Yeah,
she is struggling. I can tell she's struggling.
Yeah, and I think that's where your intensity is coming from right now. But let's just, first thing we'll do is rediscuss this dream in that context. And Roy, I want you to just start over with everything you're saying here.
Okay.
But anyway, Tim,
Yeah.
thank you for the wonderful dream, and Dawn, Roy's going to try to throw us a lifeline here next time. Okay. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. We'll see you, I guess, next Monday.
All right, thank you.
Bye-bye, guys.